Hello and welcome back to Off Track Podcast. I hope you had a fantastic Christmas and welcome to that hinterland between Christmas and New Year, where nobody really knows what day it is, nobody really knows what's going on. You've eaten too much food, too much cake, too much chocolate, and some of you probably are unfortunately back at work again already. Our show this week is with the great Michael Rutter. A couple of weeks before Christmas, we went down to Michael's workshop in Dudley to find out exactly what's going on in the 2025 season and a few stories from Macau and the TT as well. The team was launched just before Christmas, so you'll know exactly what's going on with that. But here's the story of how it all came together. Before you go, make sure you like and subscribe on the show. If you enjoy what we do, hitting that subscribe button really allows us to keep doing this and keep bringing you great guests like Michael. That's enough from me. Let's get on with it. This is the brilliant Michael Rutter. Enjoy. Michael Rutter, welcome back to Off Track Podcast. How are you, mate? Nice to see you.
I'm good, thank you. Yeah.
Good. Now, we have some news just come out recently that you're running your own BSB team next season with AJN Steel Stock and Bathams and a new rider as well for you.
Yeah, well, you've seen that like big gasp of air and I was thinking, oh my God, what have I done? Obviously, I've been around British Championship and Superbike for forever. And I've just we've never run a Superbike team. We've done everything else. We've done road racing. And obviously BSB and Superstock at BSB. And we've run different people in 900 Cups, the Smith twins. And Matt and Tim said, why don't we do a Superbike team? And to me, I've always been the rider. I've always got on the bike. I've always gone out there and tried as hard as I could and smashed things up if I had to. And now it looks like it's a bit of a reverse, and I'm going to get all the shit really, the smashed everything up, all the hassle and everything like that. So I know what's coming. I'm not blind to it all, and it's going to be very, very difficult. You know, it's you go to the teams in BSB now, and you look down there, and there's established teams been there for 10 years and in Superbike, and you look down, you can pick faults with every one of them, but I know as a rider and doing a little bit of team managing we've done how difficult it is, and it's going to be bloody difficult. So I'm kind of ready for it.
You can't underestimate the task that you've set yourself after running the teams that you've been riding in for so long. You're running Taylor Mack, and there's so many names that we've seen over the years that you've ridden alongside, and the efforts that you've done yourself, Macau, the roads, BSB, Superstock. It's a massive undertaking. Why?
Yeah, exactly why. I keep asking myself every night, sleepless nights have started again, just worrying about stuff. And you do you want it to be as right as you can. And I know how has a race that it's got to be right. When you walk towards that bike, it's got to look right, nice and shiny, and you got to believe that the people are doing the right job. And that's the hard bit, getting the team together. Like I say, a lot of established teams. We have our teams been together a long time, but we're going to have to bring more people in from different places. But the crew we've got, I'm very happy with. They're more than capable to doing it. It's just experience now, being all working together. And plus, it's not just as simple as going BSB racing. We've got to make it more complicated. I'm still going to do a bit of road racing. We've got Craig Neve. He's going to be the same again on the Hondas. So we're helping him the same way. It's going to be a full-on year. Like I've just wrote off next year. I've just put a big line through it, and we'll come out hopefully in December and have a break.
I think bringing on Craig Neve as well, it is a great. We'll come to the BSB rider shortly, but helping develop Craig, I think, has been a great journey to have that continuity for him as a rider. Still, I guess, kind of finding his feet still. Certainly around the TT, but that doesn't come easy.
No, exactly. And Craig, how Craig came about. I think every time we went out in the Isle of Man, they put a red flag out. And one year, and we were both on the road together. We both sat there, sometimes for an hour, or sit at the side of the track and got to know him really well through that, really. And I thought, well, I'm starting to do less and less, and it'd be nice to bring someone young. And I like his attitude. He tries so hard, everything he wants to do, and he couldn't get anyone more keen than him. It's unbelievable. And yeah, it's nice to go and help some other people and try and give the team's knowledge back. And obviously with Batham's being with me for so long, he's pushing a bit of help his way, so yeah, it's good for everyone.
The Batham's connection has been one of the longest sponsorship connections I can remember. Certainly over the last decade and maybe a bit more.
Yeah, 2009 really come about. I was riding for Rob McElnay on the Yamahas, and did the Northwest, and the Yamaha was so stiff, braced the chassis, my feet kept coming off the foot pegs. So I just thought, I can't ride this around the island, man. I think it'll just finish me. And I got back home, and it's the only team I've ever really gone, that's it. Every team I've started with, I've finished, if I liked it or not, and I've had some brilliant teams, and I couldn't ride that Yamaha. I thought, this is going to end my career, this might do. So I come back home, and we're in the local pub with my dad, and the bloke over the bar heard us talking about it, and said, you ought to go and speak to Batham's. And we knew they were into bike race anyway, and I thought, yeah, okay, and went up to see Matt and Tim Batham, and I said, look, I need this amount of money to get to the TT in 2 weeks' time, and there you are, there's the money, and get on with it, and that's how it started.
So how did you get ready for the TT in 2 weeks?
I don't know how I've done it now. Luckily I had Les Pearson, who was an old crew chief of mine with HRC, and he got me a bike built through Crescent, and it did. It's typical, isn't it, when you do something like that. We painted this horrible colour yellow, which I thought it was Batham's corporate colours, but it was Vauxhall colour, which was a normal standard Vauxhall van. So yeah, it looked horrendous, but we got out there and we got 6th position. I think a 5th or 6th position, and I was well chuffed for that. And so that was the first ever start of really Batham's racing in a small way.
It's become iconic, hasn't it? I mean, you see the picture up on the wall. The Taylor Mackenzie's last race was with Billy McConnell on that last corner when he went from last to first.
Yeah, it was like well down the grid, and I said I knew it was going to be Taylor's last ever race at Donington, and the sun was out, and I said, look, you can't beat today, look at it. And I said, you can win this. And I must admit, I thought, you might get in the top 5. And when he came through to win it, it was like, yeah, it was amazing. Fair play to him. He rode the wheels off it that day.
But that's the kind of experience you're going to pull on for next year, isn't it? I know you've got the whole setup thing as well. So first of all, what machinery are we using for 2025?
Yeah, basically we're going to run BMWs. And people probably go, why? You got the choice of everything, really. And we're quite lucky. We're so lucky with the sponsors we got. We can go anywhere we want. The trouble is, I think most of the field's going to be on Honda next year. So we don't want to do that. We don't want to follow the suit of everyone else. It's probably the sensible thing, but why do it easy? Ducatis, I've raced Ducatis for years, and having a proper Ducati is probably one of the best bikes out there all around. But you've got to get the proper Ducati, and running a Ducati is it's out of our league at the moment. What we want to do as the race team, Yamaha very much so. Yamaha's fantastic bike, but it's a bit of a quirky bike. Some riders get on with it, some don't, and they're very expensive. So really, the Kawasaki is just a bit long in the tooth. Bloody good bike though, but still good. And we thought, well, BMW has had a bit of a hard time this year, and to bring them on next year, I've got a few ideas because I was with the FHO setup, and I learned a lot helping Josh Brooks and Peter out, and being around the team, and I learned a lot about people, and I learned a lot about bikes, which I never knew, and what goes into it, So hopefully we can pull that knowledge together, and we can do, hopefully a good team to get up in that top 10. That's my aim as a team. If we can get in somewhere in that top 10, that'd be perfect for us.
If you hadn't done the FHO this season, if you hadn't done the role within FHO, working with the boys and understanding the BMW and the team dynamics, and a garage full of people from not sitting in the hot seat waiting to go out, would you have said yes to the job for this coming year still? Or is that, has it kind of ignited the flame a little bit?
No, not really. He was putting me off, really, because I could see how much, lads are putting work-wise and trying to change stuff, and it wasn't coming together for lots of different little reasons. They still had some good results. I think Josh finished 6th or 7th in the championship, and Pete was getting back up there at the end of the year because he had a bit of a beating all year, really, and they were starting to work a little bit towards the end, so give a glimmer of hope. No, it was, getting on to our rider for this year. It was basically Storm. I met Storm Stacey at Goodwood, and I always thought, it was that pillock in the hat, and I didn't really know him, and he came over to me and spoke to me, and I thought I like him, straight away. I thought he's got something about him, and then at Brands Hatch, he came up to me and he goes, "Do you know what they're doing FHO with riders?" And I goes, "No." I said, "I think they're sorted though," and I knew that they had sorted Pete and Davey out, and I said, "Look, we may be running a team ourselves," I said, and so let's see what goes on, and so that's how it really started. Then we just I heard he was leaving Brent, and which fair play to Brent, bringing him on all those years. It's a fantastic start, and when he turned around and told me his age as well, I thought he was about 25, 26, and when he said he was 21, I was like, wow. I remember getting on a superbike when I was 21. We met Kawasaki. I think I started riding when I was about 19, a superbike, and it's a very good age for him to be at where he's at as well, and won a BSB race. I thought, how come no one wants to take him on really and grab him straight away? So he's quirky. He's like he pulled up at my local pub in his Rolls Royce with knobbly tyres on it. Everyone thought some special needs, I think, come in to see us, but he was good. He's dead easy to get on with, and the more I get to know him, the more I like him, and I think he'll need like a slap now and again, but I'll enjoy that.
I think he's definitely a character that you can still mould, because he's got that 5 seasons experience now on a superbike. He's had it on the Kawasaki, and as I said to him back at the NEC, if you do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always got. So something has to change. So a change to your tutelage to the BMW. Next step, how are you going to control him?
I don't think personally we'll have a problem, because I want him to be how he is. That's how he is, and you don't want to change something. No. He's, I walk out the house in the morning, I go up in the morning, there's this old knackered roller sitting there, and he starts it up, and the exhaust half ripped off it, I think, and I just shook my head and just smiled, and which you got to do, and he's obviously not going to follow the rules of normal races, but I think that's what it needs in British Championship. It needs someone, it's like a Guy Martin. I think Storm is very much the same kind of way as him, and not everything's he's going to upset a few people. Great, that's part of the thing. You need to either hate him or you'll love him, and I think he'll do good for our team, as coverage and everything anyway, wherever he finishes. I think, when I was speaking to him at Brands Hatch, someone with a camera there just filming him, and although they were filming me or him, I'm not sure which, but yeah, they're with him. But yeah, nice lad, really want to help him, and we want to see him go forward as well. This is, I say, it's going to be hard. It's a new team, new rider. It's new for all of us, and I've explained that to him. And I've explained to him, look, it isn't just BSB. It isn't just all about you. It's about Craig Neve, the TT. I'm going to be racing at the Northwest. I'm going to be racing the TT. We've got Macau at the end of the year. he's joining a team, but the good thing about it, it'll be just him on that Superbike, and we'll all be concentrating on him at Superbike. You know, the whole team, everyone will be. So I think that'll be good for him. I think give him a bit of love, which I know he's had at Brent, and you know, I'm not saying anything, but I mean, we can just a new start for him, new mechanics, me standing there pointing at him and telling him, yes, do this, don't do that. And I think he'll listen. If he doesn't, he will listen by the end of it, you know, and he's got to, you know, and but I think he'll suit a BMW with as well. I think being a tall rider, it's like a top rack thing. I think he can. Problem with the BMW's entry grip, which I think he can get his weight back, which is tall enough to push himself right back, and hopefully he'll surprise a few people. And like I said to him, go out there. There's no. The only stress he's putting on is himself. Like, if he can get in that top 10, we'll be like, that's what I said to him. That'd be absolutely fantastic. He wants to go out there and win. And I know, you know, it's not as easy as that. If we could all do that, it would be so easy, and it doesn't come like that. But I'm sure he will get there. I don't know when, but he'll get there. He's got the ability. He definitely, I watched him, you know, watched him racing for the last couple of years. And if you can ride in the wet, I think you can ride in the dry as well. And he's got the right mental approach. I wish I was like him when I was 21. That's all I can say. You know, obviously I'm a lot better looking, but you know, hopefully you can have some surgery for that.
It's that carefree approach, isn't it?
Yeah.
It takes some doing. It takes a lot of effort. I couldn't be that carefree. It takes far too much energy and effort, which I haven't got.
Exactly.
It's incredible. And I think in building him as a superbike rider, maybe he did 2 seasons too long with Brent, maybe, because he's 5 seasons in. It's difficult to say. Brent did a fantastic job with him. There's no doubt about it. And I think the relationship had run its course by the end of this year. So it was a fresh start for both. What Brent decides to do for next season and beyond is yet to be decided. But for Storm, I think this is his next logical step to get regular top 10s and build step by step.
Yeah, exactly. You know, like you say, he's jumping off a Kawasaki, which where Kawasaki's are I think the best. They can't do any more with that bike. You know, everyone's got the best. Everything else has moved forward really. Other manufacturers and you know, the Baden's AJN team. At least we can throw. You know, we've got Josh's bike from last year, which is coming back from Macau. That'll be back on the 5th of January. So that's going to be identical to how he finished at Brands Hatch. And he got, you know, I think he was on the front row. So we know the bike can qualify reasonably well. Race pace, you know, I think he got a 5th in one race. So, you know, we're not far away with the bike, so we know that's our starting point. The other bike which we're building at the moment is going to be built out of spares, which I'm going to use one bike for the Northwest 200. I mean, that's going to be our test bike. So that's gone off to Ray Stringer, who's helping us this year. And he's going to, I said to Ray, just go to town on it. With Ray, Ray's been around. I used to be Ray's teammate, and Ray's the mad scientist. He's fantastic, and what he does, sometimes you have to calm him down, but you know, we love Ray to bits. There's no one more keen in British Championship than Ray, and I think with the people we got and my crew, which are always with me, and with Storm, I think hopefully we can surprise a few people, some meetings, and you know, get up there, get up the front.
Well, from what you saw last year and going into next year, what's the biggest step you need to make with the BMW?
Definitely engine braking and engine and probably corner entry grip. With BSB, you're only allowed to use one tyre, which is so good if it suits you and suits your riding style. And the argument I've been having at the moment, you know, every ride is different. Like I used to like a real hard front tyre. And I used to like a real soft rear tyre. I could get away with it, and then other riders are completely opposite way around, and bikes and machinery. But in BSB, you got the choice of 2 front tyres, but the rear tyre they choose one, which is like a medium tyre, which doesn't suit the BMW. So we've got to try and make that work. If we can get a soft tyre in, I think it would help us a lot. Well, we know it would help us. We've tried it, but yeah, we've got to work around that, which we've got a few ideas to go and try. But till you get out there testing, we just don't know.
Excellent. I can't wait to see how it unfolds next season. It's going to be a fascinating journey, I think, for you, for Storm, for the team, for the sponsors. Coming straight in at ground level is going to be, it's going to have its hurdles, like you say. But let's sit down middle of the season and see where you are, and if you'll have me, because if the door's open, then great. If it's not,
we're not been in that.
We know how it's going. We can use that as the marker.
I'm not touching your leg, by the way.
No, it's fine. I don't mind if you do. It's okay. It's fine. Where do you still find the passion for racing? Because it's every year. You think, is this going to be Michael's last year? And then you pop up again, and it's consistent at the moment. Where's
that's annoying, isn't it? Really, that I just don't know. Like I say, I wouldn't be racing without Bathams. And now AJN's come along. Alan from AJN is absolutely fantastic. Same mould as Matt and Tim Batham. And I've been so lucky, because I wouldn't be racing without those two, and Alan from AJN. And I enjoy it. That's a problem. Here behind you've got the XR69, which is I love that bike. It's absolutely fantastic. And we do the classic TT on it. And Bishop's Court in Ireland, they do a festival over there, which is a fantastic event to go to, and you can ride around there and all day long. It's and just going out tonight on the TT course is just so special. And I've got loads of my dad's old bikes and things, and I'm always surrounded by bikes every time I walk out, and I've been around it all my life. Obviously, my dad was world champion, British champion. All I know is motorbike racing, and do I get sick of it? Sometimes, when I look at it and I look at my friends and you see them doing normal things in life, I feel jealous of them. But then again, they look across at me thinking, look at me going around the world doing this, doing that. I don't think you can ever make yourself 100% happy. But I enjoy riding bikes, and I still want to do next year. It might be the first year, though, I might not be riding a British Championship at all. So that's going to be a weird one. I've always been a British Championship for, it'd be 37 years now. Yeah, 36, 37 years.
I don't want to say that out loud too much.
Where's the time gone? And I'll be 53 next year. And I'm trying to do less, and which I am doing.
I think you've got to listen to your body as well at some point, haven't you? And it's, as much as you enjoy it, the standard at British Championship level is huge. And you want to go out and enjoy it and prove your worth, and then you've got a target on your back, because there's the young lads going, as Rutter, I'm going to have him. There's a shift out the way, mate, I'm coming through. How do you then prepare for the Northwest? Are you going to do an opening at like Alton Park or something?
I've got, I do classic racing as well. I'm fortunate to go to Goodwood. So you have to get so many signatures on your license for that. So yeah, basically I'll do the members meeting. So you get 2 signatures there, and I'll get a couple of signatures or else. And yeah, I'll get out down again at different places. But at BSB we've got to concentrate on Storm.
Sure.
And got to get that right. That's my main focus, and then move on to the road racing as soon as that's done.
So first up, we have the Northwest 200, which for me is just an amazing few days. Different for the riders. It's a bit more of a holiday and a bit more of a festival atmosphere. What are your best memories from the Northwest?
Well, crossing that line when you win it and standing on that podium, looking out over Ireland, and it's just a special place, because my first ever real road race I went to, and just I remember going there with my dad, and you can do whatever you want, and short circuits, and when you're sitting on a road circuit and you're going, I was on a 250 RS 250 Honda, and wham, it's like white lines, like what white lines doing there, and curbs and lampposts. It's a completely different feeling.
But you've raced at the point with Joey, with Robert, the rivalry and friendship with John McGuinness for the whole of your career, pretty much. It's been an amazing time to be. I know we've lost a couple on the way, but to be that sort of that golden age, David Jeffries, there's so many great names that you've raced against, and to be a part of that, do you look back on it with a lot of fondness for the people that you've raced against and what you've achieved?
I think the best way of summing it up is, someone said to me, if you had your life again, would you do the same? And I would exactly. I wouldn't change anything. I've done some wrong things, I've done some right things, but I've raced against, I just can't, you know what I mean? It's like, racing around with Joey Dunlop. My dad raced with Joey. I've done lots of laps with Joey on track and watched his little helmet bobbling around in front of you. And, we've had, unfortunately, just before he got killed, that year we had one hell of a race in the senior for about 3 laps, and we were overtaking each other all the time. And at the end of it, he put a pint of bitter down by the side of me and said, I really enjoyed that. And coming from Joey, it's like he's a god, So, but then again, I've run Kevin Swans, Steve Hislop, Colin Edwards, there's just so many people. John Reynolds, there's so many people I've raced with, like Ian Simpson, who's a brilliant teammate. And someone says, oh, there's so many, you just look around at home. I've got quite a few pictures in one area. In my house, I haven't got into new racing, but another part of my stables where I've got loads of, and you look around and you go, wow, how special my life's been because of motorbike racing.
Well, it all stems from Dad, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Which was an incredible relationship that both of you had, and an incredible career that Dad had. So it was one of those where it was it always bound to happen?
To be honest, I used to watch my dad come back after having accidents, like, usual arms, legs broken and things like that. And then in 85, he had a big crash, which nearly killed him and knocked his eyes out of his sockets and broke his neck. I think virtually every bone in his body has been broken through that crash. And I've seen the low points of racing, and obviously I've seen the low points of racing when people fortunately haven't come back. And it did make me think, when I was growing up, you don't take it in like you do when you get older, but it comes back to haunt you a bit more when you do start getting older. And when I've seen the bad sides of it, but then again, the good sides are just so high. So yeah, I think deep down, I always did. I used to be the maniac kid who would go out on his bike when it's pouring down the rain, because I thought I was racing in the rain. And they used to make sure there's the village idiot again, riding around with his jacket on, with rain spraying off my head and everything. And I used to pretend I was racing. So yes, I think I've always wanted to do it.
Did Dad just let you make your own decision, or did he?
Oh, 100%.
Whatever your choice was, he would back you.
He said to me, just, do you want to go on his bike? And I had to go, and I enjoyed it. And then I got, just cutting a long story short, but I got luckily sponsored by Jeff Turner Motorcycle Mart in Kidderminster, and I bought the RGV and he helped me run it. I was working for him at the time, so he let me have the time off. And I was useless at it, and I just thought, God, this is hard. And I just started to enjoy it more. And the good thing about my dad, he made me do lots of different things. So I'd ride a Ducati one weekend, RGV the other, a single cylinder over there. I'd have probably 3 bikes a weekend, which I'd be riding different stuff. And he took me to all different circuits. We never did one championship. We went off to Cadwell, Pembury, Knockhill, Brands Hatch, Castle Coombe. I did everything. So I think then suddenly something just clicked, and I was lucky enough to get picked up by Shootikim, who seen me really and got me on a first proper superbike, and Malcolm Wheeler just before that on a Ducati for Haas Elm. And with all my dad's connections, that helped massively. But then once I started to get established, I think having a famous dad went against me a bit because everyone expects a lot then. So it was, I wouldn't have done it without my dad. I definitely wouldn't have. I don't think I'm that kind of person to, you hear about people getting up, getting in a van, driving themselves there, and, and they've got no experience whatsoever. Fair play to those people, because they don't even know where the pit lane is. When I was a year old, I knew where the pit lane was, and coming out of, all the circuits are like basically homes to me.
Yeah.
That's where I was brought up.
When you've got in fact, I'll take it back a little step. Like Hickey does now, Davey Todd, it was a little bit more prevalent back in sort of mid-90s, late 80s with Hizzy, Simo, Jim Moody to do roads and BSB. How did you settle yourself for that? Because they're two completely different disciplines, as well we know. But going from short circuit to TT, it's a lot more rare these days than it was back in the 80s, 90s.
Yeah, and really, it's probably closer now than it's ever been. Like you went to the TT or the Northwest before, especially the TT, you couldn't see for mile after mile. The track was so rough, bikes handled so bad. Nowadays, a lot of the TT courses ban some of the circuits back in the UK. And bikes handle so well now. If you got a bad handling bike now, everyone goes, well, what's wrong? Before, everyone that had a bad handling bike just held on and, shut your eyes. So you could take a BSB bike now and ride it at the TT and do very little to it. Before, you'd have to have different head angle, everything, changing stuff and trying to make the thing try and go in a straight line. So I never really struggled because I did it from a young age, and I was lucky because there wasn't that many BSB riders doing road racing. So we used to break in the last possible second, and a normal road racer who does like all the short circuits in Ireland, road circuits in Ireland and road circuits, you could outbrake them dead easy. But everyone now, all the TT riders and short circuit riders, so much more of a higher level now that it's definitely more competitive for both short circuits and road racing.
I think that's what fascinated me in 22 with Glenn. With his late braking and the leg dangling, everything was out. He took his BSB style to the roads and was absolutely phenomenal for his first 2 weeks at the TT. Massive tip of the hat to that.
Yeah, to go around the TT, anyone to go around, especially the speed he went around that in the first year.
129.9.
Yeah, it's no one realised how difficult it is till to go out there and do it.
I have a lovely feeling about the Isle of Man, but it fills me with joy and it fills me with dread at the same time, because you have to respect the course for what it is. And it's great to watch everybody out. It's great to count everybody back in, like we said previously. What's your build up to a TT fortnight? Everybody's is different. John's has been documented quite well over the years in the movie that came out. What was your process in getting ready for that fortnight?
I think it used to start just after Christmas, the sleepless nights and thinking about. Depends what bike you're riding as well. If like John, a few people speak about John. He's quite lucky in a way because he's unlucky in one way. He's got the pressure of Honda, and you got to provide. They don't like it when you're not doing what you're meant to be doing. But the other way, he can just like concentrate on jumping on his bike and going, and which is such a benefit to any rider, With me lately, I've been have to work with the team and try and get the bikes ready, and we're going to use this one or that one, or we're going to get that one over there, So it's a bit more complicated, but I haven't got the pressure of what John, I can go and ride around and finish 30th, and I'll just give myself a telling off, really, and the sponsors are dead cool with it because they know road racing's so dangerous. Bathans and AJN, that, I always say, well, we're going to the TT, but that's results. If they get them, great. If not, we all had a good time and we all come back safe. That's the main thing. And that's what I always tell Craig. Short circuit's different, obviously. We would like results. You need to be results to get up the front to keep the sponsors happy. So a different way of looking at it. But road racing, how I prepared for it was basically once you got past the sleepless nights, they fade away as soon as the BSB season started. And then once you got to like the northwest or the TT, if you had a good handling bike, it was easy. It was mentally easy. It was when you were walking up, especially for a six lap senior or a Formula 1 race or Superbike race, and it's going to be hard work. You think, this is worrying, and lots of things go through your mind, especially the electric bikes, the TT0 bikes. And we were like very lucky to win a few of those, but yeah, I just always have to think of what happens if a motor seizes up, or this is new technology and it's made out of carbon fibre. Everything wasn't like what one of the Mugen snapped in half at bottom of Macau on me, and the night before the race, you think, is it really worth it?
There's better places for it to do it.
Actually, it was just the right place, just at the bottom, and it slid along on its...
okay, it's fairly straight after that, so it's not too, but it's still fast.
That's the way I judge it.
It's still fast through there. We watched from there this year for the first time, and it absolutely took my breath away. We were fortunate enough this year to do a little bit of a tour of the island, which we've not had a chance to do before. So we watched from the Craig, we watched from Harold's Wall at Gorsley.
Yeah.
And nearly had our toes taken off at the end of the Craig, and watching at the bottom of Bagara and at the top, because that's quite a fast entry through the crossroads there as well.
When you're sitting on it, it's very fast.
Well, I can imagine what it's like from your perspective. Tell me about the first lap that you did in anger, because I will never ever, and most of our listeners and viewers will never ever experience that feeling.
The first ever lap to the TT
in anger.
Yeah, it was obviously in '94, and it was an early morning practice. So we got up. Yellow jacket was on because obviously you had to wear one of those for the first when you're a newcomer, and went off down Bray Hill. And I'd been to the Isle of Man forever, obviously with my dad, and I knew where I was going in my head.
Yeah,
I got out of Quarter Bridge and I was completely lost. It isn't like nowadays you got videos, you got games, you got we had V4 Victory on a Betamax tape, which was crackly with a camera, and it looked nothing like what the track was. It changes so much, the TT, with scenery changes and things like trees taken down, and I didn't know where I was, and I went off, and thank God really I got to Ballacrane, and I went for the brake lever, which I didn't need the brake lever anyway because I was going that slow, and that fell off like the first ever lap. So I had no front brake lever, and I thought, well, what do I do now? I thought, well, I ain't going to stop. I'll just carry on. So I carried on with just the rear brake. Come down to the Craig, the rear brake went, just boiled up. It's only a little disc on the RC45s. And I got back, and Roger Marshall gave me a right bollocking. Because what have you been doing, And I had no brake lever, you know what I mean? Brake lever fell down inside the fairing, so pulled that out, put that back on, and went back out again. So that was my first lap of, survival, I think. But when you get a good lap around the TT on a beautiful day, last year at the senior TT, I was riding the BMW, and I was on the road with two other people. The sun was out, and you're coming down towards the Craig, and on that last lap, I thought, you know what, you can't beat this. This is like fantastic. And I thought, this don't get any better, the bike was so fast, miles better than, the bike can win, basically the same bike as Peter Hickman's.
Yeah.
And this bike can win, and it's just my ability's not there anymore. And I thought, I don't deserve bikes like this anymore. So I probably won't do a superbike race again. But I had such a good memory of that. it's nice. The sun was out and I was happy. So, you can't beat that. So it's a good, I think Superbike wise, it's very best for me to keep off them because they are so fast. It's like pulling your arms out. We did, I think, 198 miles an hour. And it was like spinning up, just so I was just rolling the throttle and the Sulby straight. And you've got to be bang on and riding them all the time. So I'll go back to John McGuinness, he's riding, that's his job, ride that bike, and I've got so much on round me like this. To ride something that fast, you've got to be, I still think I could do it, but I need to just concentrate on that. And there's too many other things going on in my life to warrant that. So I'll probably just ride an R7 Yamaha, which I rode last year, and then concentrate on Craigery, try and get Craig up there a bit. If we can get him up in the top 6, that'd be fantastic. So that's aim for that. And then straight away when we get back from there again, it's short circuits with Storm again. So we need to be bang on for that. And then I want to do my Goodwoods. And at the end of the year, definitely want to do Macau again, because obviously got rained off this year. And I qualified 4th fastest. I think, we could have probably might have got 4th in the race. And, or thereabout. And I would like to go back with the team, with our team. Obviously rode for Vallejo this year, so I'd take our own team back next year.
If that's your last memory of riding a superbike around the TT, what a perfect time to stop.
Exactly. That's I thought I won't, I was thinking of it on the lap before. I think it was fantastic, and I wish it would have been a 6-lap race, but it was only the 4-lap race shortened. And I thought it was like pulling so hard up the mountain mile the bike was, and no one can appreciate the speed. It's just till you're sitting on it and it's screens flapping around. You can see bits of greenery, some of it, and a few white walls on the way up there. And but especially coming down the mountain, that was special. That was. It was like, wow, that's cool. You see the boat going off. You could as well in the distance. So cool way to I think finish with superbikes. I think if something came along and it wasn't an experimental thing or something like that, I could be interested in doing something. But I mean, to be competitive and go out there and think, I think I'll finish in the top 10.
Yeah.
And it's only going to go backwards now for me. And I've been very lucky and had some good races with a lot of people. And and it does upset me thinking about it, not sitting on the grid for a superbike and a senior race, because those are the 2 races I just absolutely loved. I never won one. I finished 2nd a few times. I finished 3rd a few times. I think I've been every place but 1st. And I would dearly miss those 2 races.
I'm just going to leave that there, because that doesn't need any more words from that. Thank you, Michael. Every TT rider that I speak to, it fascinates me being stood up on the Glencrutchery Road, watching you walk with the mechanic to the first point, and then you're on your own, and then you get to Tapman. That whole thing. And I go on about it every time I speak to them from the TT. If the listeners and the viewers are bored, I apologise, but it absolutely fascinates me, because different people have different outlooks on it. What's going through your mind, let's say the start of the senior, because that's the big one. That's the one that everybody wants to win. You say you podium there. What are you thinking at that point for the final 2 minutes before you get to Tapman?
Well, normally you get like, they put the board up, saying 5 minutes to go, and everyone starts taking the warmers off and pushing the bikes up. And then obviously you go through that where it's like no man's land, they call it. And that's fenced off. So as soon as, you get a tap off your mechanic going, don't forget to switch your rain light on, 'cause you have to run that, and simple things, and they push you through there. And as soon as I get there, I look down and I just look, it's ticking away. You see all the people, and it looks like there's thousands of people that side of you and lots of that side of you, and then you look down, and I always just like usual thing, just check round, and I always check my steering damper. I've always got caught out years ago by having having steer number too tight, and once you're away, that you've got what you got. So I always check steer damper, and you just look round a bit, and then you start shuffling up, and then you hear the first bike go off, and normally I'll be number 4 or something, or 6, and you just push down, and you just keep crawling down there, and you think, I don't want to mess this up, you know what I mean, going off the line, and you just then I start counting to 10, like once person in front's just gone, then start going, counting up to 10, which I can do. I've learned over the years, and
We've had a bit of experience at that from the starts.
and then you just get to that point where you obviously grabs hold of your shoulder, and he goes ready, and then you're just waiting for the light to come on, and or the flag obviously with the start of the racing, and I enjoy that bit. It's a bit of peace and quiet. It's hectic. It's up there before the races, people, sponsors, all, I don't know, coming to see you, and it's just a weird atmosphere because everyone's they are a bit nervous. I'm actually quite laid back with it now. I think when I got a chance of doing well, I was nervous, because you wanted to do well for your sponsors, for yourself, and now I enjoyed every minute of it. So it was fantastic for me.
Tell me about the first launch down Bray Hill, because unless anybody's been down, I know a lot of our viewers and listeners have been to the TT, they've stood on Bray Hill, they've stood at the traffic lights at the bottom, even driving down it in the car. It's a steep hill, and the TV flattens it out incredibly.
I try it with a 240 brake horsepower, and he's pulling your arms out, 5th gear, flat out in 5th gear, and he's just pulling down that hill. It just pulls your arms out, and we just look at the bottom of Bray Hill and going up towards Aggo's Leap, and next thing you're up it, over it, and gone down the other side, and it's and on a flying lap there, that's probably my favourite bit of the circuit. You come out of Governors and come out onto Glencrutcher Road, and it's so fast because you're just banging the gears into it, and you go past start and finish, and you're within blink gone, and traffic lights over the Sendingers, and then they're all off down. But I can just picture it now, and the front just starts to wobble a bit, and just as it loads up going down Bray Hill, and then as soon as it comes on to power again, it just pulls the front up, and down you go, and next thing you're at Quarter Bridge.
It fascinates. I find it absolutely incredible because it is such a thrill for you to ride it, but a thrill for us to watch. But then years gone by, we've watched at DJs. So you watch during practice, and there's a slight little comfort roll for some, just till you get used to it, and then all of a sudden, it's flat by the end of the second week. And as the course comes to you through the week, it's phenomenal to see how that progress goes on.
First night of practice, you normally get everyone just sitting on a fuel drum, just looking into space, thinking, "What the hell are you doing here?" And then it gets like you say, the senior, when it comes around after all that practice, it's not easy, but it's mentally, you don't have to think about it. You've taken all that information in, and it processes a lot easier, I should say, and you don't hold on so much, because holding on is the worst thing you could do at the TT. You grip hold of the thing, and it just wants to tie itself in knots. If you sit there and just go, right, carry on, do your own thing, and it's a lot easier to ride.
At 240 brake horsepower, at 150 plus miles an hour in most cases. It's easy to, that's incredible.
Yeah, but it's amazing how easy it is from the beginning of the week.
Yeah.
To, from the beginning of the week, you are like nervous, and you do hold on, everyone does. And you grip the thing, and it's like, wow, I ain't going to be able to ride this. But it's still hard work in the senior, but it's nothing like as physical at the end of the week.
I remember working with James Hillier in 22, and he'd done his first lap on the big bike. It was the first afternoon of practice, and he came back in, and his eyes are like saucers, and he literally had to go out the back and have a couple of minutes. He's like, how on earth are we still allowed to do this?
No. Yeah, well, it's unbelievable because I remember I missed the TT for 7 years, just because I wanted to go, but people wanted me to concentrate on British Championship.
Yeah.
And I had no option. And I remember the first year I went back, I think 2007, and centenary year for 100 years of the TT. And I said, I'll go on my suit bike first. I always go on my suit bike, get out of the way. What a mistake, you know what I mean? I should have gone on like 600 first, because you just, you can't compute it and take it all back in. It's
Well, weirdly, James is the opposite mentality. He's like, I'm going to go out on either the stocker or the superbike first, and then I'll go on the 600.
yeah, I think that's what I do now still, but it was because I had 7 years away.
Well, yeah, I mean, 7 years away
And
makes a big difference.
And
Yeah,
jumping.
yeah, sorry, yeah, fair point.
600 was like a superbike in 2007. So, at a superbike, I just automatically probably got another 70 brake horsepower. And it was like, wow, this is different, you know what I mean? So,
No, fair point. After 7 years away, yeah, this is the right thing. From the time that you were away from the TT, that was British Championship time one, that was HM Plant Honda and fighting for BSB titles. What are your best memories from there? Do you have Keo as a teammate?
yeah, I had some brilliant teammates. I had Shaky.
Shaky. Did Brooksy or do you?
No,
that was 09.
Brooksy took me 8 times.
Well, I remember Cadwell, yeah. Well, yes.
But who did I have? Yeah, I had Shaky for 2 years. He was a character. I had Sean Eric, massive character. No, you could talk about him for days. Obviously Keo, Ian Simpson. God, yeah. I think they've all been all my teammates I've had. I've really enjoyed being with them. The only one I never wanted to be with the Sean Emmett. When I heard he was going to be the Red Bull team when we Red Bull Ducati, and I goes, no way. I said, I'm just leaving, And I thought, I can't deal with him. No way. And he was fantastic. I got to know Sean, and he's different, but he was a character. I'll tell you, he was like, we had some fun with him. We did get sacked after about 4 meetings, but it was lively here.
We've had many a story. We've had Nigel Bosworth on who worked with him at Red Bull.
Yeah.
I've spoken to Reg about him, and Tommy Hill's been out and about testing with him at Virgin Yamaha. I think it's Virgin at the time. With Rob Mack, it would have been Virgin Yamaha at the time. So many stories of a Sean Emmett variety. What's your favourite?
I don't know
that you can share. There's a caveat.
God, he was just a nightmare. It was, we got banned from going to the pub, which is probably a good thing by the team boss. So we used to sneak out, and he went out in his brand new M5, I think he had, and we went to the pub, had a few drinks, and his guys sat nav on, and we were at Thruxton, and I go, where are we going next? He goes, we'll have another one more drink. I go, Sean, we get back. We got away with it for like this long. Yeah, it'll be all right. So we went off down these back roads. Anyway, phone went, and it's Mark Griffiths. Like, all right, better get back. Like, so he goes, I know, shortcut. So sat nav, and I've never been this way to Thruxton. I don't think anyone else has ever been that way ever. And this lane was probably as wide as a car, and we're going down there. It was like virtually brand new. This car was, and then it started to get a bit narrower, and sitting in the hedges, like both sides of the car. It was down to like virtually a bike track, and it was bouncing off this car, and like it burst the tires off it. He just pulls it in, and I go, Sean, your car, and he goes, oh, that attitude of didn't give a shit, and I was right, okay. I guess what are you going to do with it? He goes, I'll get one of my mates to pick it up and sort it out. And that was probably from being GP, riding Kevin Schwartz's bike.
Exactly.
We must have made a load of money and just thought this is going to be there forever. And, but there's a lot of wild things which I can't really say. But no. He was, there was nothing, there was nothing boring about him. And what got him the sack in the end was we had to be there at Brands Hatch, and we all park our motorhomes quite a bit of a way away from where the garages are. So in the morning, Mark Rivers said, right, there's a fine. You've got to be there for, I think it was 9:30. If you're not there in team gear with your shoes, like that, you're getting fined. So I'm quite good at being on time. I knock on Sean's door and he opens, he's got nothing on, basically. The tins fall out the motorhome. I go, Sean, right, we got to go. He goes, oh, well, wait, we've only got one scooter. I go, Sean, right, I'm not going to be late. I'm going in a minute. And he goes, just hang on a minute. So a minute or two passed. Right, so I just rode off, left him, and then he came in the garage, like, probably right at the end, because he's got to walk quite a bit of a way.
It's a trek.
Yeah, and Mark started kicking off, and then they ended up fighting in the garage, and that was it. That was the end of him. So that was, he was sacked after that, so he blames me for it, but he should have been early.
It should have been on time. I was talking to Mark Griffiths at Silverstone at the GP earlier this year, and he's a fascinating character.
Yeah,
I think we're going to try and get him on the podcast at some point as well for the old Renegade team, without a doubt. How much of an influence was Roger Marshall? Because you've worked with him quite a bit over the years.
I'd say Roger. I was going through a bad time when I was with Med Kawasaki, and Nick Med, Stuart Med, who run the team. Stuart was going to basically sack me because I wasn't doing the job really that well, and I think there was lots of it. I was working on the bike because the first time away from home, I was living up in Ashby, and Roger came and Roger took me to one side at Cadwell Park it was, and he goes, do you really want to do this? Do you enjoy it? And I goes, well, there's this wrong, that wrong, I don't like this. And he goes, right, okay. Me and Ray were taking it very seriously, and I decided to listen to Roger, and he took we were at Mallory Park, and he wasn't going that well on the Friday, and he took us down to the local pub, got us a few drinks. We had quite a few drinks, and we went out the next day, and something just clicked. I started enjoying it, I think, and Roger brought that out of me, and I was up with Ray then, racing with Ray virtually straight away. And, I think I got a few podiums that year, and might have got, I'm sure I had a few podiums. I think I was like, in World Superbike, I was line 4th, I think, and then the gearbox blew up in it. Roger definitely turned my racing career around and made me think of it in a different way. And enjoy it. If you enjoy it, you normally go quick.
It's the key to racing. If you're not enjoying it, it's never going to go well.
Yeah.
Because you're chasing, as I've quoted this so many times on the show, when I was talking to Jamie Robinson back in the summer, and he said, and it really resonated with me, because not being a racer and not being in that position, it's difficult for me to put myself in that place. But he basically said, once you win, you're screwed. Because that's all you're chasing then for the rest of your career.
So when you ride a factory bike, I'm very lucky to ride for HRC, and when you ride with someone like that, anything else, and people say, what's the difference? And just look at the clutch lever on the bike there, and the clutch lever on a factory Honda is like gold for a start, looking gold. It isn't gold, but looking gold, and it's got bull races in it. Everything from like pulling the clutch lever in to opening the throttle to pulling the brakes on. It's just got those so small little bits, but all those add up over a bike. And, you're on a factory bike, you sit on it, everything fits. And then when you go to a privateer team, which we are, you haven't got the money, and you haven't got, I think I snapped one of the first blades in half in testing. And I reckon, cost-wise, it was over £800,000 for one bike. It was like unique, and it's just the special. And you have the best tyres, you have the best brakes, you have the best suspension. Normally the best crew, mechanics, everything. So that's what makes that, spoils you. and from then on it's a downhill.
I was, as you know, we spoke last week, and I was with Matt Lloyd, and he was explaining for his time at HM Plant, whereas he was working with Kia, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And he said that working on the factory bikes, when, especially at that point with HRC, and then it was always sort of that it made a lot of people smile, because once Suzuka had gone,
Yeah,
nice shiny new parts came, didn't they? Things started to change, and had the air bleed system and everything. The bikes were incredible.
Oh, just phenomenal.
I don't think people realise just what spec those HM Plant on the Michelins at the standard they were at.
I think the tyre bill alone for a Honda, for me and Keo, to do the Northwest as well, I did Northwest 200.
Yeah.
And came to over £500,000 just for me and Keo. You know, it was just phenomenal. We had choice of, off the top of my head, 160 fronts, I'd say, and probably 300 rears we could choose from. And they had a big shopping list. You know, they wouldn't bring them all to the meeting, obviously, but they'd say, right, what do you want there, that. It got so complicated. And a Michelin tyre test was just the most scariest thing you could do in your life, you know. Me and Kia used to try and hide from them, because they used to send you out there and you just throw you out on a tyre and you go, that works brilliant. And then they would probably try 7 different fronts, and then 3 of them would be scary, you know. You just lose the front suddenly and go, whoa, around there. But then they'd retest you on them, see if you were telling the truth and see if how hard you were trying. It was, to do tyre testing is not it's not the nicest job in the world.
Does Freddie Spencer puts that down to his wrist issues in a lot of ways for the tyre testing he did for Michelin and for Rothman's Honda. And for what would he be on? He would have done Michelin's, would he not?
Yeah, it would have been Michelin.
He would have done Michelin as well, wouldn't he? Yeah. So at GP level doing that.
Oh yeah, it was just
lap after lap.
And I had a good chance of winning British Championship twice. Really, I had a proper 2 good chances, and the HM Plan bike, the bike was so good, and I should have won it that year. And we had this tyre came from a special tyre for Thruxton. No, it was for Snetterton, sorry. So it was a bit softer because the real tight chicane, and I hit the throttle first, and it just flew over top, and I knocked myself, broke a bit of this and broke a bit of that, and it just, rest of the year, it does some damage in my shoulder, and that was it really. It wasn't meant to be. But when they worked, you couldn't crash on them. That's the difference. You'd have a tyre which was unbelievable. At Silverstone, I couldn't fall off it. I started front row, and we had a problem with the clutches, and me and Keo would be last going into the first corner, and then it was like having a Sky Electric. You just, no spinning, no, just turning like phenomenal. And then, but they had a lot of data, which from doing GP there, and they take track mouldings of it's so in depth, and what you learn when you're with someone like that, and the circuit, which they didn't have a lot of knowledge of them, you know, like the Snetsons, the Thruxtons, Cadwell Park, things like that. That's where you struggled a bit.
Would it be fair to say the HM Plant Fireblade is the best bike you've ever ridden, or are there others? Like the RCV, maybe.
It's like people saying to me, riders as well, who's the best. There isn't, you know, who have I raced against, who's the best racer. I don't know. You know, I've had that many different teammates, and I love them all in different ways, and they all were competitive in different ways. And so many bikes, really. There's so many bikes. I'm so lucky I've got the RCV, the 200. That's just sounds like the job, looks the part. It's just fantastic. But you go back to the blades, you go back to the old Ducatis, the old 888 Ducatis. Like, I've rode some stuff which are just beautiful, like, you know. And if I had to take one home with me, I think I've got it over really, the RCV. You know, that's like, you just start that up and it's like, wow, that's cool. That is the noise.
Yeah, it is the most cool motorcycle, I think, that you could ever throw a leg over, especially to ride it on the roads and to do what you do with it. How did that come about? Because that's MotoGP quality.
I was sitting in this garage with, unfortunately, Alec Tague, who's fortunately not with us anymore. And my girlfriend was obviously Faye Ho at the time, and we were going to do Macau, and she wanted to do something special for Macau, and this is how it came about. And Faye goes, "What's the best bike you can have for Macau? What's different?" And he goes, "Well, you could have this, or the ultimate, you could have an RCV." And she goes, "Oh, we'll have one of those then." So that's how it come about. And then, I was in the garage, I knew nothing about it. So I was on the phone trying to sort a bike out for Macau, and Alex going, "Oh, what's this wrong with him?" And I just, he turned around to me, he goes, "Look, I shouldn't tell you, but Faye's bought you an RCV." And I was going, "What?" So that's how it came about. And we ended up getting it back here, stripping it. I can't believe we stripped an RCV down and took it and went to Macau racing. So I did 2 years at the TT on it, done 2 Macaus on it. We had a couple of seconds on it. But it was fantastic, and I'd still race it now, you know, but it took for rebuild, and it's not cheap. I think the top end costs, I think it was about 45 grand to rebuild the top end of it, and I don't even want to know what the bottom end's. It's got about another 2,000 Ks left in the bottom end, but yeah, for racing wise, it's done its day, unless someone wants to buy me an engine.
So what, we're not looking Goodwood Hill?
Exactly, we just take it out. And I take it to Bishop's Court, to this Island Festival, and do a few wheelies on it, and people love just...
Oh, that's all right, if it's just for that, yeah.
Just messing about.
And just enjoying it. It was like such a sad situation for Alex Haig.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Got to give him a nod on the show.
Yeah.
He passed away recently with MND, but a stalwart of the paddock, a great man with a great
No one would work
knowledge.
any harder than Alex.
No. A very, very sad loss to his family. We know Zoe really well, and she's working in the paddock as well, and it's just sad loss. We like Alec. It's a very, very sad loss for the paddock. Tell me about Macau, because you've got a great relationship with that, and everybody, going back from when Mike Trimby started inviting people out there, whether it was Reg, whether it was Roger Burnett, Ron Haslam, Kevin Schwantz was out there as well at one point. It was always the end of season, but some went to race it, some went to enjoy it, some went to do both. Where did you fit into it?
I'd say a bit of the both, actually. I'd never been out that part of the world before, and getting off the plane in Hong Kong, but flew into the old airport as well. So yeah, it was like, that was worse than the racing. Like, there were people hanging the washing out, and you could see them eating the dinner when you're coming into land. And it was that close, you could touch them, like people. And when I remember, like, there's no air conditioning then when they opened the door, and like this heat just hit you. Wow, what's this? This is not like Briley Hill. And he just went out, and it was just, wow, it was just special. Unfortunately, it broke down the first, then did like 200 yards, the bike blew up Ducati. So I just sat there and got drunk the whole week for the first year. But once I got to know Macau and the circuit, it suited me. I enjoyed it, and I don't bother me too much the heat. Had some like good times. I just starting to laugh then, because the weather, unfortunately this year, we got cancelled because of the weather, and made a mistake years ago. Me and John McGuinness went out and with some of the organisers, and it must have been like 2015, 16. And it was raining like real bad on the Friday night, so they said, look, Saturday's cancelled. So anyway, they pushed the race onto the Sunday, and the weather was just as bad. It was raining so much, and they goes, look, it's going to be off. So we got pretty drunk, thinking it was going to be cancelled. And I normally don't drink champagne, I don't like it, but it was free, so I drank as much as I could of it. And me and John were proper, like, I woke up in the morning, I've never seen the sun so big and round. I thought, oh my God, the race is on. And I got to the grid, and I was like, I thought, this is going to be hard work. And I remember trying to, I pulled up on the grid, and I was that dehydrated. I got my finger and pulled my tongue off the top of my mouth. And I thought, this is going to be a long, I think it was 13 laps, 14 laps. So it's a good 45 minutes. It went off and somehow I won it. But yeah, I remember coming in when I'd finished and I put my sunglasses on my head and my sunglasses fell off my head because my head had shrunk. And it was like that much. It was,
Wow.
yeah, lesson. Just make sure it's definitely counts.
Stay hydrated, kids.
So don't drink and ride. So yeah, that's some experience at that place. Yeah, it's unique.
What's it like to ride the place? Because you never ride anywhere else like it with the Armco. We see the famous photos yourself, Steve Plater scrubbing your right hand shoulder on the wall on the Armco.
I think Steve was probably one of the most determined people I've ever seen race on a road circuit. Even when he'd won the TT, and didn't see fair play to Steve. But I mean, he tried hard, and in Macau, I thought, he ain't going to beat me. No way he's going to beat me. And he came and he beat me. He just did everything. There was one corner, it's going towards Lisbon, and it's a real fast right-hander. And two of the laps, he's touched his helmet and there was smoke coming off the top of his helmet. And after the race, he'd won it, obviously, if I'm going to beat him. And I guess you were touching. He goes, no, I wasn't. And he's got these lines down, yellow lines off the arm curve going down his helmet and the back of his leathers. Yeah, but fair play to Steve. He was determined.
And I think somewhat underrated in a lot of ways.
Steve,
because he was never, he did his job, and he won the senior. I think he held the mountain sector for years until Michael, I think, was it Michael or Hickey broke it?
Yeah.
But only in the last sort of 5-6 years. And that was like 2009, I think.
The thing you can say with Steve, I think he was unlucky because he got to the point where he was riding a Superbike and he had the SB2,
yes,
Colin Edwards, and that everyone expected. Factory bike, he's gone and won the World Championship on it. You're going to win this. And changing tyres, I think they're wearing Michelins to Dunlops. And English circuits are so different. That's why they all say, well, the BMW should be doing good here, and it's not. Why is it not? Because different circuits, different tyres, And it didn't work for him. So, unfortunately, he had some good results, but he could have, I think, gone on to be.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He could have. There was more in there.
His ability and his mental ability, to win. He was phenomenal.
Did that Honda have WP suspension as well, if I remember right? Something daft like that.
I
I think it's little things like that. They've moved it to shower. There's one point he was running WP suspension on it. Just how little things stick in your mind.
I mean, it was like it would have been shower back and front.
You're not had to call it what WP stands for now, because it gets you a complete load of trouble. In 2024, it's WP suspension, and that's it. When you were doing the GPs, how was that for you to be in that paddock with those names around, to all of a sudden go like, wow, this is new?
That was another thing. I was in Macau. Unfortunately, I was riding my Honda. Fortunately, I was riding my Honda that year, and at the end of the year, they said, you're going to have a contract for another 2 years. I was brilliant, and I went to see them after Brands Hatch, and they goes, oh, we just had a big change around. We're stopping racing completely. I go, you told me 2 weeks ago. I got, and sorry, that's it, gone. So I had no ride really for 99, 2000 and what would it be? 1999.
99.
Yeah, 1999. And I thought, what am I going to do? And I went to Macau, had nothing. And Mike Trimby said, do you want to do GP? There's a team here which, could do with a rider. And I goes, what's he riding? He was riding a V-twin. And I thought, well, I'm never going to get the chance again. I'm going to have a go. And it was hell. It was hell because we were 37 mile an hour down. It was the first year the bike had been running unleaded. because it was obviously trying to be eco-friendly. So we had to all run them unleaded, and it just killed the V-twins for whatever benefit they had. They were terrible. So there was like me and another rider on a V-twin riding around, and he got the factory bike, which was good, but that wasn't nothing like our bike. Ours was a customer bike, which I had to buy, and we went around the world. I started every race. I'm glad I done it. It did my career no good, but then again, I was sitting there for a couple of times where I could have got a ride on the Red Bull 500 Yamaha, and I thought I nearly got it one time. I was real close to it, but they wouldn't take me out the team because it had left my team with no rider, so they brought Gary McCoy in to ride there, and I was so close. I was like hours away from at least getting a test on it, and I'd just love to have had a go on a proper, on a Yamaha V4 and have a proper go on one of those. That'd have been ultimate, but it didn't happen. But I did the season. I look back on it, and I went all around the world. I got paid for it, and I learned a lot, from it as well. So I came back and rode for level 3 Yamaha, won a race for Yamaha for the first race on the new Yamaha. So it all turns around, things happen for a reason.
Are you a big believer in that? Because I certainly am.
Yeah.
Things do happen for us. If you hadn't have gone, maybe this wouldn't have happened. And we're sat here now because this is where we've ended up for decisions we've made years ago.
Exactly. And you turn that corner and, you just don't know what's around that next corner, do you? So, I do believe it's things do happen for a reason.
The one thing that I'm sitting down with Pup Lloyd tomorrow, and he built Joey's bike that won the 2000 Formula One race.
Wish you would have done that good a job.
Yeah. He did a good job on that, didn't he?
Yeah.
Well, you were on the podium in that race as well, weren't you?
Yeah, and Joey won it.
That was his last big bike win, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was Joey's. He did. David Jeffries was leading the race. I think it was close though. There wasn't much in it, and David broke down, and I was up there. I think I was third at the time, and obviously David dropped out and made me go into second place, and he just really beat me, didn't he? I'm trying to have a good excuse. He'd overheated a bit, but always a bit of an excuse. But yeah, he just Joey had his race head on that day, and it's like when I went back to the senior when they changed the numbers around then, so it was I think whatever where you finish your lap speed or something. So I started behind Joey in that race, so I caught Joey up on the road, and that's when I was following him, and the speed of him was unbelievable. Like the corners where I thought someone like me would be really, really good coming from short circuits, and then some of the fast stuff, I was quicker than him. So, coming down the mountain last lap with Joey, it's like, he can't beat me. He's 49. And I thought, no way he's going to beat me. So coming down to the Craig, I thought, hit the brakes alongside him. No way. He just let the brakes off. Turned in front of me. I thought, oh, no way. And then going down, got down to where the Nook is and Governor's. I thought, no way is he going to stop. The rear wheel was about this high off the floor, and you had to let the brake off, and I just sneaked up the inside of him. And we touched fairings, and we went over the line then virtually together, and I just beat him over the line. And fantastic. What a blow.
The memories are there, and this is what we said earlier on about taking the memories and the great times with you as well. The riders, DJ, Joey, Robert, and more. They might not still be with us, but nobody's taking those memories away.
Like I say, in the back there, I've got all my leathers from years ago, and you just pull a set or a helmet out, or you think, oh God, that picture over there and that picture there, and you think, we're so we're very lucky, very lucky.
That's the joys of writing the books as well.
Yeah, but we've been lucky. I've wrote 2 books. Well, I haven't wrote them. John McAvoy's wrote them, but I've sat there and dictated it to him, and true to how I felt about it. and I've got a corner named after me, like with me and my dad. Like, you know, obviously I look at it more as my dad's corner, but they bolted me onto it as well, which is fantastic. For, you know, Dad done 30 years at the TT, I've done 30 years at the TT, and he's won 7 races, I won 7 races. We both still love, well, I still love it and still want to go back there. And in Macau, I've got, you know, waxwork, you know, and to have a waxwork of yourself, I thought it was a joke when that come through. I thought it was someone definitely winding me up. I got the thing, Madam Two Swords, when I do it. I goes, yeah, right, who's winding? That's a classic one. That's a brilliant one, that is. I thought, and that took about 2 months. I had no reply off you. I was like, yeah. And yeah, so where
So you have your own waxwork.
Yeah, which is cool, isn't it? So no, yeah, life's complete.
I think that's a great way, isn't it? And that's the to be able to sit here and say that. And then what you said about the last Superbike race absolutely blew me away, because it's great to have that candid side and that awareness to go, do you know what? We've done all right here. Because you sometimes riders need saving from themselves.
They do, yeah.
But we're of an age, because we're only a few months apart in age, where you can sit back now and go, I don't really need to do this, because if that's my last memory, I'll take that.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, there's something always like...
Oh, I'm sure that the flame will never die.
And I just want to be sitting on a Superbike at the TT. I keep saying, and another part of me goes, do not sit on a Superbike at the TT. I'm not good enough anymore. Do not.
I think you're better than some that are out there, because you have the knowledge and the speed, but it's your standards then, and the sponsors and outside pressures come in, that you want to do the best for you, but you want to do the best for AJN, for Bathams, for the sponsors, for the team partners.
I think as well, when you're traveling that quick, it's so, and it's like you're sitting here, but you can't describe it. You know, the going under trees and the light changes, and when you're young, you just pick things up. You can wear dark visors, you can see this, pick out that, and you think about it too much now. I think that's the problem. You think, what's over there? What lift your head up here? So,
I never knew that was there. But we get older, we get a little more, you sort of look before you leap now, don't you?
exactly.
Whereas the youth is wasted on the young in a lot of ways. They don't understand what they've
They're
got.
very lucky.
They really are.
Enjoy it while you can.
Absolutely, because it goes by in a flash. We're sat here with a combined age of 103 years, so enjoy it. Just before we finish on the TT, what was your biggest whoopsie that you got away with? Because we don't cover, people don't cover everything with the racing these days, and sometimes you'll come in and go, woof, I'm just going to need a minute after that.
Where at road racing?
At the TT. Or road racing in general, if there's one where you suddenly go, give me a minute.
I think you shut them. I think you had that many of them. You just like, you go, right.
I think they'll buy you a bit of time. I think that's something that we don't realise, is that every lap there is a clenching moment because of the nature of the TT, but you ride through it.
It's a classic thing, you know. John McGuinness was saying to me after the scene, I said, oh, well done, he won whatever race he'd won. I guess, everything all right, John? He goes, yeah, I never had a moment, you know. And then I was watching the footage on the night in the hotel or somewhere we were at, and it was like sideways. It was like over told me like minutes ago, he's just like never had a moment. You know, it's like when you speak to Peter Hickman as well. Any moments, Peter? Because no, not one. I didn't have any. And I was like, have you seen that on TV? Like, you didn't know, but you don't see it. You don't, like, you just put it aside, and you just forget about it straight away. You know,
you see the black lines that he leaves everywhere, that Davey does, that Dean does through that incredible footage through K-trees.
Yeah, you know, yeah.
You suddenly like, it is what it is, because you're 3-4 corners ahead. It's not what you're doing at that point. This is what I've learned to understand with riders and talking to multiple TT riders over the years. You're not in the moment of where you are on the bike at that time. You're 3 corners down the road.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. Yeah.
Which is again another completely different way of thinking.
I think the most scariest thing I've ever had was a close one is the sunlight, which gets you in TT, and different times when the start of the race, you know, you can come into some parts and it's white. It's just, and you can't see anything. And I've come close to the curb, a few times. So that's, you get in, you go, yeah. When you can't do anything about it, you've got throttle closed, but you're travelling that fast anyway. It's, you're going where you're going.
You're passenger at that point. We have our patrons that help us out every month. So we have a little page where people can contribute every month, and if you contribute a certain amount, you get to ask questions of the guests. And we have our patrons that have done it for your fine self.
Oh God. No.
And I don't moderate these at all. I have no idea what's coming with these questions. We've got a couple. We've got a couple from Craig Lowe. Any decision you now feel from throughout your career were the wrong ones, and why? So basically,
none of those, like I was saying, I think everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
And I wish I'd have been more media friendly. I hate this.
Which is why I'm so grateful with. It's so good.
I hate
you say.
I hate speaking. I wish I'd have been more, switched on. Probably had a manager, I think. If I had a manager, I think I could have earned more money. Touch wood, I've done very well out of racing. I'm not moaning about it, but I think I could have earned a lot more money if I'd have listened to someone.
There's always a potential to do better.
Yeah.
Second one from Craig. What do you feel is now possible around the TT course in regards to a lap record?
It'll just keep moving forward all the time. Bikes improve, track improves massively. Everything improves, put the riders of the old day, Mark Elwoods and Phil Reeds and Agostini's on, the riders are fantastic riders anyway. Anyone who goes out and wins, I think it'll just keep going. It'll just keep going.
Will we ever see a 140?
Yes, definitely.
I think the biggest difference when it came back in 22 after COVID to 23, they'd made Sulby and Ginger Hall and three, it was like an Axminster carpet, had made a complete difference to the, well, you had to stand up on it most of the time, didn't you, before it was resurfaced. But when the whole course is resurfaced and it's like that, I can't imagine what it'll feel like. It's not far off now.
Well, it's not far off now, and bikes improve. So acceleration, that's the big thing. If you can get your bike up to that speed, and that's what they do. They travel so quick now from one space to another. That'll soon come.
I watched Hickey's lap record the other day on YouTube. I was doing a bit of research in Hickey's. I thought I'll just have a look at it. And I've been on a chat night with John and Dean, and they're trying to talk through a lap. Impossible, because you see so much that you can't say it before it's already gone, but your immediate reactions and reflexes are incredible.
And obviously John was telling how good he was.
Well, of course. It was his lap, of course it was.
That's for you.
What was the two-finger salute at Macau for you and John?
At Macau? Which one was that?
You were on the Armco barrier, and it was...
Oh, that was Peter.
Oh, was that at Peter?
Yeah.
I wonder, John wasn't there, was he?
No,
that was at Peter.
Yeah, Peter Hickman. Yeah, it was just wave to him. Well done.
You can. Well done. You're going to win too this week. Maggie Day, she said they got so many questions that she could think of, but a playful one for you. Do you think at the ages you are now that you could rival John?
To be fair to John, he's heard me to say it, there's no one more keen than him doing the road racing, and he's so good with talking to the fans, and he is a good ambassador, especially of the TT, and for Honda, because he has stuck with Honda, had his ups and his downs with them, but still there. No, but it's fair play to John. He's done very, very well. He's done, and he stuck at the TT, which is the big mistake. I should have probably put my foot down. If I had a manager, I'd gone, well, I'm doing that and I'm doing the TT. And I didn't, because I just backed down myself. So, yeah, fair play to John.
Perfect. 2 more questions and then we're done. Because this is, we sat down at the Excel a couple of years ago, didn't we?
Yeah.
And had a quick 15 minutes while you were flogging your books, which are still available.
Are still available.
Excellent. On the website?
Yeah.
I'll make sure I put that in there. I'll make sure we get, we know how this works. We'll put a link to Michael's books in the description below, which is where Patron is, where the YouTube membership is. So have a look down there and make sure you purchase. We're a bit late for Christmas because this is coming out between Christmas and New Year, but there's still birthdays coming up. So make sure, if you haven't already, get both of Michael's books. 2 questions to finish. What's your favourite corner and why? Is the 2-part first question. I'll let you have that one.
I'd say station corner at the northwest when you're holding flat out through there. On a superbike, you go through there, especially in a gang of people, and you got to get a good run. If you can get a good run through there, you got all the way down towards university. I love that corner.
We did a whole clip on that one. There was Brooksy, Pete, and Coops when they were all at FHO at the beginning of 23, and was explaining then about Station Corner, because
when you're on a superbike and through there, that's fast.
It's a long run down there, isn't it? From the roundabout, it's all downhill, and
I don't even know what speed you go through, but it's fast.
It's lots of miles an hour.
Yeah.
And the final question that we ask every guest: what's your best hire car story?
See, I've been real respectful. I've been in with a lot of people who've done a lot of damage, but I've, I think the funniest one, and it was funny to me because I knew all the people, but I mean, Shaky and me, we went out for some fuel, to get some fuel in Almere it was, and he drives hire cars around and wrecks everything. He's just a hooligan. And we'd coming down, and I was in the passenger seat, and he was driving, and he decided to pull the handbrake on and skid this thing all the way down the road, which was, quite funny. And then he decided to rev shit out of it, basically, and that was it. We pulled up. Anyway, it was the end of the day. We finished practice. We all loaded our stuff up into it, and all the team gear and all the people, 6-seater. And we drove off, and the things were on boom, boom, like, and Mark Griffiths, the boss, he's like, what the hell's gone on here? Something got a flat tyre. Me and Shaker sitting on the back going, and we know exactly what's wrong. So he went round, because these tyres have got massive flats on them, I thought. He went absolutely mad, anyway. We're just sitting there like thinking, we know what's coming next. So we go onto the motorway, and obviously he's blown the turbo up on it. So we was probably doing 38 miles an hour all the way back to the airport, and it was silence in that car. Just the ba-dum, like just going down the road, and I got bollocking for it as well, but it was nothing to do with me. But yeah, I think that's at the time, looking back on it, and just me and Shaky giggling like girls in the back. I think that was the only one really. But I've never had the I don't know, things to wreck.
Never run the Shaky and Sean Emmett school of hire cars. That's all. Michael, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much for your time. I know you don't enjoy these too much, but I really appreciate you sitting down with us, talking about next season and having a bit of a look back on your career as well. I wish you all the very best with Storm and the team and Craig and yourself for next season. Let's catch up next year and see how the team's going if the door's open.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
We'll see how we go. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Michael Rutter.
Thank you.
Michael, thank you so much, mate. Well, I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. Thank you so much to Michael for allowing us down to the workshop to sit and chat about the TT, Macau, and the plans for next year. It's not something he does very often, so it was a real pleasure and a privilege to sit there and hear the stories that he had to tell. And we wish Michael and Storm and the team all the very best for the 2025 Bennett's British Superbike Championship. Next week, it's a GR Motorsport double bill. On Monday, we have Chloe Jones, and on Wednesday, we have Brent Gladwin, the boss himself. Some great stories from both of them, the history of how they became where they are, and just can't wait. It's going to be a fantastic double bill for you. All that remains to say is Happy New Year to you all. Thank you so much for your support in 2024. It's been massive. We couldn't have done it without you. All the subscribers, everyone who's watched, liked, engaged, it's a true privilege to do what we do. So thank you. We'll see you in 2025, and Happy New Year.